What up, YouTube? Ed Bridges here, EBMods coming at you. Well, I don't have the bell crank or the starter box assembled yet. This is only the day after that shot the last video. But I got a lot of emails and a lot of questions, and I wanted to do another video anyway going over some of the features. We're going to go over some of the features of the dyno, and then I'll answer some of your questions along the way, and hopefully this video won't be too long, won't be too boring. So let's get the flywheel spinning here, turn the spur gear. You can see it spinning. I don't know if you guys can see that well in the video. Handbrake stops it. It's locked in place. So, all right, so one of the biggest questions I get, I've gotten since the last video, is the dyno flywheel weight. How much does this flywheel weigh? Well, it's the flywheel weight and the combination of the split hub adapter that I used. So that was another question, is how is it connected to the shaft? So I use what they call a split taper lock. This company calls it power lock. Hopefully it's not backwards when you guys see it. Well, I guess we'll find out. But it's from McMaster Car. Here's the part number. So it's basically a split taper bushing. It comes with two pieces. When you machine your flywheel, you make it slip fit into there. The shaft goes in the middle, and as you tighten it down, it pulls itself in and compresses onto the shaft and expands onto your flywheel. I can show you a quick close-up of it here, hopefully. We'll see how this works. Actually, a counter bore in there. All you see is the cap screw sticking out. With that, you can see how the split taper goes in there. And I have it centered. So okay, so the dyno flywheel weight, the whole rotating assembly. This is the spur gear, everything, not just the flywheel itself. I'm not going to give you just the flywheel. The one-way bearing housing, the linear shafts, so we're right about 10 pounds. So 9 pounds, 14.2 ounces, or 4,485 grams. So I had to lay that out by hand. I didn't machine that in there because I wasn't sure of when I ordered it off of Amazon which handbrake I was going to get. I'll just show you that real quick. I was going to machine my own, but I really want to get this thing done. And this was, I think I got 2 of them in a kit, and it was like 20 bucks. It looks like it's touching, but it's not. And just yeah, had to make a little bracket. Nothing, super critical here. Routed the line. The line goes over into the cam here. So I even machined that whole stepper motor mount there, that aluminum mount there. I'll throw some pictures in. I'll show you how I did it. It was just a 2-operation process. Machine the top part, flip it over, machine the bottom side. So the spur gear is from McMaster Car. It's I forgot to bring another one in. I had to drill and tap it and make this aluminum collar for it. But it's nice and smooth. That's the one-way bearing housing, and it's going to be the photo loop for the actual infrared fork sensor to measure the RPM of the flywheel itself here. So I do plan to try to hook up another RPM sensor to the spur gear so I can actually measure true RPM of the engine and the flywheel, so you can figure out if there's any slippage in the one-way bearing. At the same time, you'll be able to calculate engine deceleration as much as engine acceleration. If the engine drops the idle a lot quicker, that's going to tell you a lot about the state of the tune as well. So to start, I'm only going to have the one RPM sensor here. which is much like the X Dyno and everything was in the past. The dyno, that was a great dyno. I had no problems with it. The one-way bearings you got to change out every, you know, maybe 10,000 runs. I might even got more than that out of them. I have over probably 100,000 dyno runs recorded on the old X Dyno. And I still have all that data. So a lot of different engines on there. But anyway, so yeah, one-way bearing housing. This is the one-way bearing from McMaster car. There's the part number, guys. Write it down if you want to buy it or whatever you're wanting to know about it. So I'll show you the power lock again. McMaster car. You know, follow the directions on these. There is a right way and a wrong way to use them. I know I was going over the throttle block here, but nothing special. It's just a block of aluminum that I lightened up. I made the cable lock in here, and maybe you see that cable moving, maybe you don't. But anyway, that cable gets routed down through here and it goes into that stepper mount. So I'll get down here, try to back up. That's how the arms connect to the stepper motors. They're dual output shaft steppers, so the shaft comes out on both ends. I drilled all these holes. I did 4 on both sides, depending on if I want to hook up other cables or come a different route, or you never know what the future holds. So the engine mounts, again, they lock in with the T-nuts on the bottom, and then I can just take off this top plate. I can take the engines on and off and never move my engine location. The fuel tank, people did ask me about that. Let me, I just know it's a Techno Truggy tank. I thought I brought the info with me from the house. But yeah, I mean, you can spin up the flywheel with the spur gear. That's so smooth. I mean, it's just, everything is, man. And then, so the engine will be able to drop right back down to idle. You know, we'll run the dyno up to probably about 40,000, 42,000 RPM, engine RPM. The flywheel itself won't go over 10,000 RPM. It'll be between like 8,000 and 10,000 RPM, depending on the gearing we use on the clutch bell. So these control arms I machined. I can throw a couple pictures in of those. These are just solid blocks of aluminum. I machined them, 2 operations, one side, flipped it to the other side. Used bicycle gear shifters on the last couple dynos. The X Dyno was like that, and they work great. I just wanted to do something a little different here. Nothing really special. The pillow blocks I did not make. I bought those from McMaster car. That was another question. I don't have the part numbers for them. The last ones, even the X Dyno, used this pillow block, and they cut it in half and just ran 2 bearings. So 2 on this side, 2 on that side. But I ran the complete pillow blocks this time. I just wanted it a little bit beefier. Again, there was no problems with the last dyno. Again, I probably, like I said, have 100,000 dyno pools of data on the X Dyno. The only thing I ever had to change out is the one-way bearings. A lot of dyno pools, people. A lot of dyno pools. So, all right, so let's get back to the questions here. I'm gonna flip the camera around. You know, hopefully that wasn't too quick for you. I don't want to bore anybody. I'm just like, super excited about this dyno. Like I said, I used to run these in the past. Used to do engine reviews, used to sell engine products and stuff. And we may get back into it. And that's another question I did get here is, what's my purpose of the dyno? And the big thing is I want to do engine reviews on YouTube. It's not really that I'm looking to make money off of it. I just really, if anybody that out there that really knows me knows that I live and breathe these little 2-stroke engines. I mean, manufacturers and individuals out there, other companies, are copying a design on my backplate that's 10 years old, but they're copying because it works. It does what it says. It's not like throwing a turbo on your engine, but you will get increased fuel mileage. Your engine will drop to idle quicker. It'll accelerate a little quicker. I mean, and all that can be measured on a dyno, like a device like this. So that's the other thing why I'm building the dyno, because I do plan to start offering products again, carb venturis, backplates. I have my old backplate design, but I even have a new and improved design, and they will be DLC coated, okay? I've already got a quote for them. A good friend of mine, Tom Stober out there, I don't know if I should mention his name, he might get a little upset, but he's seen it. It's kind of expensive. You're looking at least, I think it was 25 or 30 bucks a backplate to have them DLC coated. But yeah, I do plan to do that. Carb inserts. I'd like to start making more engine parts. I do have the means to make head buttons, heat sinks, crankshafts, piston sleeves, rods. Whether or not I'm going to get that deep into it, we might, because that's something that's always been a dream of mine and a goal of mine to get to. Also, I plan to do giveaways for this dyno, like not this dyno, at least not yet. Maybe in the second one I build or the third one, because I do have some parts prepped for future dynos. I plan to do engine giveaways. So I'm going to buy engines out of my own pocket. No favoritism or anything. We're just going to dyno the engines. I'll get the exhaust pipes recommended. And I'll give these engines away. We'll break them in, dyno them, and then we'll give them away. So that's the other thing. We can do a lot of fuel testing. I want to do some fuel testing. Again, we're not looking to put anybody's product down or anything. Just test it, compare, do comparison testing, and really just have fun with it. I mean, this is a hobby, and it's fun. But there is some science to some of the stuff. So, but yeah, I want to do promotions with the dyno. We can, like I said, do engine reviews, and we can test things like clutches eventually. If I get the 3 photo cells, 3 RPM sensors set up, one directly on the engine flywheel, one on the spur gear, and then we have one on the flywheel. We can measure clutch slippage and all that. At the same time, I know the Performance Trends, which is the data acquisition software I'm going to use. You guys can look them up. I'll try to throw a screenshot in here. It comes with a weather station, so it does SAE correction, weather factor. So no matter where I dyno test the engines, they should pretty much overlay each other. But when you dyno an engine, at 200 degrees, the power curve will be one thing. At 210, it'll be another. It might drop a little bit. 220, it might drop a little bit more. So you can't compare engine temp dynos at 250 to a 210 run, because they're not going to be the same. I'm just telling you. So you have to measure. We do plan, or I plan to measure, engine cylinder temperature, exhaust gas temperature. I'd like to expand it to get to fuel tank temperature, but we'll see what I can do with the Performance Trend stuff. I think it is expandable, so may have to work that into the PLC, because I do want to make this PLC eventually for the engine break-in stuff. But yeah, so I do plan to measure cylinder temperature, exhaust gas temperature, and I'd love to get a fuel flow meter hooked up somehow. It's so, it's such a small number of increment, it's such a small increment to measure over a short period of time. So I do want to get that dialed in, so we can also do fuel consumption, fuel efficiency. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think I went over a couple questions: the dyno flywheel weight, one-way bearing, spur gear, flywheel adapter, the purpose of the dyno. Again, I want to do engine reviews, sell products eventually. I do plan to make products and sell, or end services, do engine giveaways, and do some other type of promotions. If you guys have any ideas of what you want to see tested, definitely drop me an email. You know my email address, ebmods@aol.com. It's been that for 20 years. So again, that's ebmods@aol.com. Well, yeah. Oh, somebody else did ask about a protection around the flywheel. I may put a shroud around the flywheel here. The original Dyno didn't have one, and the couple I built after that didn't. I mean, it's good quality 4140 steel. And you're nowhere near the danger zone with the RPMs that this wheel is going to spin for what it's rated for. So we're good to go there. But again, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button. I don't even know if it gives you that for me because I'm just small time here. So, and thanks for watching. Hopefully the next video will be the dyno ready to run. And hopefully it will be running and we'll get this engine broken in. I have 3 of these. I have a 3-port, 5-port, 7-port. These are a prototype engine that I was thinking of doing years ago, but never released in the US. I don't think the company's around anymore. We'll talk more about that when we do it. But all right, talk to you guys soon. Stay tuned. And thanks for all the support.